just got caught doing. I mean, you got to understand that these people are all in this together, and they buy the politicians in every country. They create revolutions. They create wars. They, like America, they've never seen a dictator that they didn't like. Look at the school that they had at Fort Benning.
Still there under a new name. But, Bob, that's a great point you make, that look at how our government sets up dictatorships all over the world. Of course they're getting rid of Northcom. Of course they're putting police on the street. The federal government today financed a paper by Rand to create a new U.S. Army police force. Now, we know they're going to put regular Army on the streets and are already doing it, but now they're announcing, no, we're going to have federal U.S. Army troops, and they're just going to patrol America, and they're going to write tickets and everything. I mean, that's total Guatemala, total Stalin Russia. I mean, that's grade A certified. It's just totally illegitimate criminal government. And you say, well, the military will stand up. And I know the military are really tuning in droves. They're waking up. They know previously they were taught this was bad. Now they're being told it's good, but they're having Marine Corps, Army, National Guard, where they run checkpoints in Tennessee, California, Texas, Iowa. They do gun confiscation drills. It's now in the paper. And the troops go, yeah, I'm out here running checkpoints for drunks. I mean, what's wrong with stopping drunks just to set the precedent? And so they're certainly trying to do this and using staged terror attacks to sell it. And conservatives have been sold, well, if it's anti-terror, I'm for it. But conservatives need to know, we got the MIAC report from the police. We released it. We got the Homeland Security report. I got it. I released it. People couldn't believe it was real for 2 days until the feds admitted, yes, Jones shouldn't have that. And I had the feds calling up saying, who gave that to you? And I said, go take a hike, buddy. It's still America. And it said, Homeland Security is for the American people, gun owners, veterans, conservatives, libertarians, people that protest the Fed. We always knew it was for us because we're the real Americans. We're the good guys. Homeland Security is to stop the good guys. Bob Chapman.
Well, you're absolutely right, and that's the federalization process. And that will sweep through all of the police departments and eventually through all the state agencies. This is monstrous what's going on. And, the American people who are listening to this, you have got to tell other people about this. You have to talk about it in all the meetings that you're having politically at the lower levels in the state and cities and the towns. And you have to continually barrage all the congressmen, all the senators, and tell them you don't want them to do this and don't want them to do that. It's the only legal avenue open to you. And if you can, you should go with these groups that meet and go to Washington. What was it, 2 million people? Tea parties, other kinds of groups all over the country. If you don't do it, you're going to end up in an internment camp.
And by the way, Bob, you were in Army intelligence in Europe against the Soviets. You've lived in Paris. You've lived in South Africa. You've lived and did a lot of work in Black Ops. And that's how you discovered the New World Order. People that study history like you and I, who spend all our time researching this, and you've lived it, know what type of tyranny we're dealing with. It's not a boss hog. It's not a corruption. It's not a good old boy thing. It is a scientific, focused, final solution to bring in an invincible scientific dictatorship. This is their own statements. A planetary regime, the likes of which we've never seen. People need to know this is the darkest, most wicked form of tyranny you can imagine.
And these people are truly demented.
They are. They are truly, 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 truly demented. And people need to understand this is life and death, folks. They're putting in the face scanners, the license plate readers are already in. They're already tracking everything. They're already admitting their I mean, it's hell. I mean, and the military and police listening, folks, they are spiking your vaccines in water. Bob, you want to explain that to them?
Well, They've been doing it for a long time. It's just we didn't know about it. And if they can put chlorine in, they can put anything else in. And as Alex said earlier, they're getting all kinds of drugs in bodies of water that are nowhere near pollution, that are used for drinking water. They're hitting these reservoirs and the feeders to reservoirs before the water ever gets to be processed. I don't know what they're doing with the private water as far as bottled water is concerned. Do you know that, Alex?
Well, they picked a plastic in the 50s out of thousands of formulae, the only type that sloughs massive estrogen mimickers. And that's a fact. They admit that. In fact, people won't believe it. Just Google plastics sterilizing, plastics sterilizing men. Or plastics releasing estrogen mimickers. And you'll get thousands of articles. It's admitted. Here's one out of CBS News, and this is a whitewash. Remember that. Mutant polio virus spreads in Nigeria. 124 children affected. I looked up the actual number. It was tens of thousands. This year by paralyzing disease believed to be caused by same vaccine used to fight it. Oh, it's an accident. But then you pull it up. Dozens and dozens of countries with weaponized polio vaccine killing and maiming the children.
And, you know, there is an enormous a group of people who are involved in this conspiracy, and that's exactly what it is, who are pedophiles and other deviants. And
again, the UN's been caught. Hundreds of articles. Everywhere they go, they run child kidnapping rings. Go ahead.
And what they want to do in eventually controlling you will be able to control your children so that they can use them as they want to. And it is so rampant, it's unbelievable. You know, I went to Rome one time. They wanted me to take over the Observatore Romano, and of course, at that time I didn't know anything about how to run a newspaper, and the editor had died, and his wife was running it, and they wanted myself and somebody else to run the paper. And front page of the paper, Henry Kissinger is in town. Hide your children. I'll never forget it. Of course, you wouldn't see that kind of a headline in the United States, but Kissinger is a famous pedophile, as is Gordon Brown and the Bushes, and I could go on and on. There's millions of them. And they'll have a field day with children once they are able to take over. And so that's what is in the future for your children and grandchildren.
Devastating information with Bob Chapman. My goodness, if it was coming from anybody else, I wouldn't know what to say. Coming from him, I don't know what to say, but I've been to Bohemian Grove. I know about Skull and Bones, and the sky's the limit for these people. Let's take some calls. Lee in Minnesota, thanks for holding her on the air.
Hey, Alex. Hi, Bob. Great show. I don't know how I get anything done, Bob. It's great to listen to you. I did want to comment on something about Ron Paul and H.R. 1207. I just finished finishing up a macroeconomics class, and I believe I'll be getting an A or a B. And I've been trying to get the teacher to understand H.R. 1207 and the importance of auditing the Federal Reserve. I just got a message from him, and I get a chance to write some closing comments for the rest of the students and the teacher to see. Any suggestions on a short little blurb to write down so people can...
We don't really know what your paper's about, so it's hard for us to help you.
It's just about macroeconomics in what's going on in Africa. I
would give them a Thomas Jefferson quote about if we ever allow private banks to take over the issuance of currency and credit, our children will wake up homeless on the continent we conquered. and I would give him some quotes by Jefferson about everything is the money power, this parasitic system that if you took all the power away from the bankers today, tomorrow they would write themselves a new fiat check for the rest of the world. Bob Chapman?
Well, he was exactly right, and that was a long time ago. And so we're fighting this enemy for over 1,000 years. And,